The moment I saw my father's lawyer's name flash on my phone, I knew my life was about to change. What I didn't know was that in 72 hours, I'd be standing in a billionaire's office at midnight, watching him lock the door behind us. "You really want to play? Then you are staying locked in here with me," Carter Westbrook whispered, his hazel eyes burning into mine as he trapped me against a glass wall overlooking downtown Chicago. I am Maya Sinclair, 31 years old, senior attorney at Morrison & Fletcher, and apparently the illegitimate daughter of Richard Westbrook, one of the richest men in America, past tense, because he died 3 weeks ago, and his will just blew up everything. Let me back up. 3 days before that office lockdown, I was sitting in a conference room at my firm when Gerald Peterson walked in. He'd been the Westbrook family attorney for 40 years. Seeing him there in our building made my stomach drop. "Miss Sinclair, I need to speak with you privately. It concerns the estate of Richard Westbrook." I followed him to an empty office, my mind racing. I'd done some contract work for Westbrook Industries 2 years ago. Maybe there was a legal issue. Maybe they were suing the firm. I ran through every possibility except the truth. Gerald sat down and pulled out a thick envelope. "Richard Westbrook was your biological father." The words hit me like a freight train. I actually laughed because it was so absurd. That's impossible. My father was Marcus Sinclair. He died when I was 12. Marcus Sinclair raised you, yes. But Richard Westbrook and your mother, Diane, had a relationship 32 years ago. You are his daughter. He's known since you were born. My hand started shaking. My mother never said anything. She honored his request for privacy. He was married, but he's been watching your life from a distance. Your college tuition, the anonymous scholarship you received, that was him. The grant that helped your mother during her illness 5 years ago, that was him too. I felt sick. Everything I thought I knew about my life was a lie. Gerald slid the envelope across the table. "He left you something in his will, but there's a condition." Of course there was. His son, Carter Westbrook, inherited the company, but to finalize the inheritance and maintain full control, the will stipulates that Carter must spend one complete night, sunset to sunrise, working alongside you, in the office, together. Why? Richard believed his children should know each other. He regretted keeping you separate. This was his way of forcing a connection. And if Carter refuses, the company gets split. Controlling interest goes to the board. Carter loses everything his father built, and you forfeit your inheritance, which is substantial. $5 million, Miss Sinclair. $5 million. My mother worked 3 jobs to raise me. I put myself through law school with loans I'm still paying off. $5 million would change everything. What does Carter know about me? He learned about your existence when the will was read last week. He was understandably shocked and angry. Does he blame me? He blames his father. But yes, you represent a truth he didn't want to face. His parents' marriage wasn't what he thought. I stared at the envelope. Inside was my entire future, tied to spending 12 hours with a man who probably hated me. When? Friday night. This Friday. Carter has agreed, reluctantly. You'll meet at Westbrook Tower at 6 p.m. The building will be on weekend security mode, minimal staff. You'll have the executive floor to yourselves. That was 2 days ago. I spent 48 hours researching Carter Westbrook, 34 years old. Took over as CEO when his father's health declined 18 months ago. Reputation for being brilliant, ruthless, and cold. Forbes called him the Ice Prince of Chicago venture capital. He'd never been married, rarely photographed with the same woman twice, and employees described him as demanding but fair. Every article mentioned his close relationship with his mother, Vanessa Westbrook, who lived in their Lake Forest estate. Society pages loved her, elegant and charitable, the perfect billionaire's wife. Except her husband had another child he hid for 3 decades. Friday arrived too fast. I changed outfits 4 times, finally settling on a fitted emerald dress, professional but confident. I wasn't going to apologize for existing. I pulled my hair into a low bun and stared at myself in the mirror. You can do this. 12 hours. Then it's over. Westbrook Tower dominated the Chicago skyline, 78 floors of glass and steel. I'd been here once before for that contract work, but I'd never been to the executive level. Security checked my ID and directed me to a private elevator. As it climbed, my heart hammered against my ribs. The doors opened to a massive reception area, empty and quiet. Floor-to-ceiling windows showed the city bathing in sunset gold and orange. One light glowed at the far end, coming from a corner office. I walked toward it, my heels clicking on marble floors. Carter Westbrook stood with his back to me, looking out at the city, charcoal suit jacket off, white shirt sleeves rolled up, burgundy tie loosened. Tall, broad-shouldered, dark hair slightly messy like he'd been running his hands through it. He didn't turn around. "You're on time. That's something." His voice was deep, controlled, cold. "I'm Maya. I know who you are." He still wouldn't look at me. The rejection stung more than I expected. "Your father wanted us to work together tonight. I didn't ask for this either." That made him turn around. Carter Westbrook had hazel eyes like mine, though his were harder, guarded, sharp jawline, handsome in that intimidating way powerful men often are. He studied me like I was a problem to solve. "You look like him. Same eyes, same stubborn set to your mouth." I wouldn't know. I never met him. "Lucky you." The bitterness in his voice was thick. He moved to his desk, gesturing vaguely at a chair. "Seat, let's get this over with." I sat, keeping my spine straight. I wasn't going to shrink under his hostility. What exactly are we supposed to do for 12 hours? Carter pulled out a folder. My father left instructions. We're to review the last 5 years of Westbrook Industries' charitable foundation work. Together. Discuss it. He wants us to understand what mattered to him. That's it. 12 hours of forced family bonding over spreadsheets and donation records. His laugh was harsh. Very Richard Westbrook. Control from beyond the grave. He slid the folder across the desk. I opened it and saw page after page of foundation grants, donations, program funding. Hundreds of them. This will take all night. That's the point. We worked in silence for the first hour. Carter sat across from me, reviewing documents on his laptop, while I read through printed records. The quiet was suffocating. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. "Can I ask you something?" "No." "Why are you so angry at me specifically?" "I didn't know about any of this until 3 days ago." His eyes snapped up. "You want to know why I'm angry?" "Because my entire life was a lie. My father, who I respected, who I thought was a good man, had a whole other child he hid. He lied to my mother for 30 years. He lied to me, and now I'm stuck here with living proof of his betrayal, because if I don't play along, I lose everything he built. I didn't ask to be born. Neither did I, but here we are. The words hung between us, sharp and painful. I stood up. "You know what? I don't need this. I don't need your anger or your resentment or your $5 million. I've made it this far without the Westbrook name. I'll keep going." I headed for the door. "It's locked." I grabbed the handle. Pulled. Nothing. Pushed. Nothing. "What?" Carter leaned back in his chair, arms crossed. "Building goes into full security lockdown at 7 p.m. on weekends. Doors lock automatically. Only executive override can open them, and that system is on the main server downstairs." My pulse spiked. "So unlock it." "No." "Excuse me." He stood and walked toward me slowly, deliberately. Every step made my heart beat faster. When he stopped, he was close enough that I could smell his cologne, cedar, and something darker. "You really want to play the victim and storm out? Then you are staying locked in here with me. We're doing this. All 12 hours. Because I'm not losing my company because you got your feelings hurt." I pressed my back against the glass wall, tilted my chin up to meet his eyes. "You can't keep me here." I just did. The rage that flooded through me was white hot. I shoved against his chest, hard. He barely moved. "You arrogant piece of work. You think locking me in here makes you powerful? It makes you pathetic." Something flickered in his eyes. Surprise. Maybe. Like no one had spoken to him like that in years. "Say whatever you want. We're still here until sunrise. Then stay out of my way." I pushed past him and walked back to the desk, dropping into the chair with enough force to make it roll backward. I grabbed the next document in the pile and started reading. Even though the words blurred together, Carter returned to his seat. We sat in hostile silence. The only sound occasional paper shuffle and keyboard click. 20 minutes passed. Then 30. My phone buzzed. A text from my best friend, Jessica. "How's it going with Mr. Billionaire?" I typed back. He locked me in his office. Literally. "What? Do you need me to call the police?" "No. It's complicated. Long story. I'll survive. Girl, if you don't text me every hour, I'm sending SWAT." I smiled despite everything and set my phone down. Something funny? I looked up. Carter was watching me. Just my friend checking if I'd been kidnapped. "Have you?" "Jury's still out." His mouth twitched. Not quite a smile, but close. We went back to work. Another 30 minutes crawled by. Then I found something in the files that made me stop. Wait. This grant. $50,000 to the Beacon Women's Shelter on the South Side. That's where my mom volunteered when I was growing up. Carter looked up. "What?" "The Beacon. My mom took me there every Saturday. We served meals, organized donations. It was her favorite place." I scanned the document. This grant was issued 8 years ago. It kept them from closing. Carter pulled the file toward him, reading. There are more. He donated to them annually, starting 20 years ago. 20 years ago. I was 11. My throat tightened. He was watching me even then. He watched both of us, just in different ways. The bitterness in Carter's voice had shifted slightly. Less sharp, more hollow. "What do you mean?" He stood and walked to the windows, hands in his pockets. The city lights stretched out below us, thousands of tiny lives going about their Friday night. My father wasn't around much when I was a kid, always working, always traveling. I thought it was just business. Turns out he had another family to think about, too. I wasn't his family. I was his secret. Same difference to a kid waiting for his dad to show up to baseball games. The vulnerability in his voice caught me off guard. This wasn't the cold billionaire from 10 minutes ago. This was someone hurt. I set the file down and walked over to stand beside him at the window. For what it's worth, I didn't have him either. He sent money, apparently, but I never knew him, never heard his voice, never got a birthday card with his name on it. Carter glanced at me. "You really didn't know?" "Not until 3 days ago. My mom died 2 years ago. She never told me. I thought Marcus Sinclair was my dad. He was a good man, a teacher. He loved me like I was his own. I am sorry about your mom. I'm sorry about yours. Finding out like this, it must have destroyed her. She won't talk about it. Won't even say his name now. She's in Lake Forest pretending none of this happened." He ran a hand through his hair. "I don't know how to fix that." We stood there in silence. Two people connected by a man neither of us really knew. "Can I see a picture of him?" I asked quietly. I tried to find one online, but most were from business events. Far away. Carter pulled out his phone, scrolled, then handed it to me. The photo showed a man in his 60s. Silver hair, hazel eyes like ours, standing on a boat with his arm around Carter's shoulders. Both of them were smiling, genuinely happy. That's from 2 years ago. We went fishing in Michigan. It was one of the last good days before he got sick. I studied Richard Westbrook's face, looking for pieces of myself. The eyes, definitely. The shape of my nose. The way he smiled with one side of his mouth higher than the other. I did that too. He looks kind. He could be, when he wanted to be. I handed the phone back. "I'm not here to take anything from you, Carter. I don't want the Westbrook name or a piece of the company. I just want to understand why he did this. Why he kept me hidden but couldn't completely let go." Carter looked at me for a long moment, something shifting in his expression. Maybe that's what tonight is supposed to be about. Not the files or the foundation, just understanding him. Then let's do that. Actually talk instead of pretending to work while hating each other. I don't hate you. You did an hour ago. I hated the situation. There's a difference. He moved back to the desk and grabbed 2 bottles of water from a mini fridge I hadn't noticed. He tossed one to me. Start over? I caught it. Start over. We settled into the chairs, but this time the space between us felt less hostile. Tell me about growing up, Carter said. What was it like? Normal, mostly. South Side Chicago. My mom worked as a nurse. Marcus taught high school history. We didn't have much money, but we were happy. I was good at school, got into Northwestern on scholarship, law school at Georgetown. Came back here 3 years ago. I took a sip of water. What about you? Lake Forest, private schools, everything you'd expect, but lonely. My mom was great, but she was busy with charity work. My dad was never around. I spent most of my time with nannies and tutors. He leaned back. I thought getting into the business would make him proud, make him see me. It did eventually, but now I wonder if he was grooming me to take over, because he felt guilty. Maybe both things can be true. He was proud and he felt guilty. Maybe. We kept talking. Hours passed without me noticing. Carter told me about taking over the company, the pressure, the weight of expectations. I told him about my cases, the clients I fought for, why I became a lawyer in the first place. Somewhere around 11 p.m., we ordered food. Carter called a late-night delivery service that apparently catered to billionaires locked in their offices. Thai food arrived 30 minutes later, brought up by building security. We ate sitting on the floor with our backs against the windows, the city glittering below us. This is surreal, I said, twirling pad thai on my fork. This morning I thought I'd suffer through 12 hours of awkward silence. Now I'm having dinner with my half-brother. Half-brother. Carter tested the words. That's going to take getting used to. We don't have to use labels if it's weird. No, I think I like it. I was an only child for 34 years. It's kind of nice knowing I'm not alone in this anymore. Something warm bloomed in my chest. Yeah, it is. We finished eating and cleaned up, tossing containers in the trash. The office felt different now. Less like a prison, more like a refuge. Carter checked his watch. It's almost midnight. Halfway through. Feels faster than I expected. Yeah, it does. He went back to the desk and pulled out another folder, this one separate from the rest. Gerald gave me this before tonight. Said I should share it with you when the time was right. He handed it to me. Inside were letters. Dozens of them, handwritten, dated over 30 years. All addressed to my dearest Diane. My mother. My hands trembled as I opened the first letter. The handwriting was elegant, careful, the kind you see from people who grew up writing thank you notes and signing important documents. Diane, I know I have no right to ask this of you, but please let me be part of Maya's life, even from a distance. I can't leave Vanessa. The scandal would destroy her, destroy Carter. But I can't abandon our daughter either. Let me help. Let me provide for her. Let me watch her grow, even if she never knows my name. Please, Richard. The words blurred as tears filled my eyes. Carter's voice was gentle. There are more. He wrote to her every year on your birthday. She wrote back. He kept every letter. I wiped my eyes and kept reading. Letter after letter, year after year. My father's words, full of regret and love and impossible choices. My mother's responses were there too, copies she must have given him. Her handwriting firm but kind, setting boundaries but allowing him small windows into my life. She'd send him photos, report cards, drawings I'd made as a kid. One letter from my mom, dated when I was 7, said, Maya asked about her father today. I told her Marcus is her father in every way that matters. She seemed satisfied. But Richard, she has your eyes. Every time she looks at me, I see you. I don't know if that's a gift or a curse. His response a week later, it's a gift, Diane. Tell her I'm proud of her, even if she'll never know it's me saying it. Tell her she can be anything she wants. Tell her she's loved. I couldn't stop crying. Carter handed me tissues without a word. Why didn't she ever tell me? I whispered. All those years she kept this from me. Maybe she was protecting you. From the confusion. From feeling like you weren't enough because he couldn't claim you publicly. Or maybe she was protecting him. Maybe both. I read through more letters. One from when I graduated high school. Another when I got into Northwestern. One from when my mom got sick 5 years ago. Richard's handwriting shakier, more desperate. Diane, please let me help. The treatment costs are too high. I can cover everything. Don't let pride stop you from getting well. Maya needs you. I need to know you're okay. My mom's response. I'll accept your help for Maya's sake. But this is the last time, Richard. When I'm gone, you let her go too. She doesn't need a ghost in her life. She needs to be free. But he hadn't let go. Even after she died, he kept watching, kept the letters, put me in his will, forced this night to happen. I looked up at Carter. He loved her, really loved her. I think he did, more than he loved my mother. Maybe that's a hard thing to accept. I am sorry. Don't be. It's not your fault. Carter sat down beside me on the floor, his back against the desk. My parents' marriage was complicated. I always knew that. They stayed together for appearances, for the business, for me, but there wasn't much warmth there. Not like what's in these letters. Do you think he regretted it? Choosing duty over love. Every day, probably. Carter picked up one of the letters, reading, but he made his choice. He stayed with my mother. He built his company. He did what he thought was right, even if it meant sacrificing what he wanted. That's a lonely way to live. It is. We sat in silence for a while, the weight of our father's choices settling over us. Finally, Carter spoke. I have something else to show you. He stood and walked to a cabinet in the corner, unlocking it with a key from his desk. Inside was a small box. He brought it over and sat back down beside me. He left this for you. Gerald said to give it to you tonight. I opened the box with shaking hands. Inside was a silver necklace with a small pendant, a tree with branches spreading wide, and roots going deep, engraved on the back. For Maya, you are loved. You always were. I pressed my hand to my mouth, sobbing. Carter put his arm around my shoulders, pulling me close. I leaned into him, crying for the father I never knew, for my mother who carried the secret alone, for all the years we lost. I've got you, Carter said quietly. We're family now. That means something. When I finally stopped crying, I looked at him. Thank you for sharing this with me, for not hating me. I could never hate you. You're my sister. Sister. The words settled into my chest, warm and right. Can I ask you something? I said, anything. What happens after tonight? After sunrise? Do we just go back to our separate lives and pretend this didn't happen? Carter was quiet for a moment, thinking, I don't want that. Do you? No. Then we don't. We figure this out together. Maybe it's messy at first. Maybe my mother never accepts you, and that's going to hurt. But we're in this now. Both of us. What about the company? The inheritance? We'll complete the terms of the will. You'll get your $5 million. I'll keep the company. But more than that, you'll have a brother. And I'll have a sister. That's worth more than any of it. I smiled through my tears. Yeah, it is. Carter stood and offered me his hand. I took it, and he pulled me to my feet. Come on, let me show you something. He led me to another door in the office, one I'd assumed was a closet. He opened it to reveal a private balcony I didn't know existed. We stepped outside into the cool night air. The city spread out below us, lights twinkling like stars. The wind whipped my hair loose from its bun. I come out here when I need to think, Carter said, when the pressure gets too heavy. It helps to remember there's a whole world out there beyond boardrooms and quarterly reports. It's beautiful. It is. We stood side by side, looking out at Chicago. Somewhere down there, people were living their lives, falling in love, fighting, making mistakes, starting over, just like us. Maya, yeah, I'm glad he did this. I'm glad we got this night. Me too. Carter checked his watch. We've got about 4 more hours until sunrise. What do you want to do? Tell me more stories. About him. About you, I want to know everything. So we went back inside, made coffee, and talked until the skies started turning gray. Carter told me about his father's quirks, his terrible jokes, his obsession with old Western movies. I told him about my mom's strength, her laugh, the way she'd hum while cooking Sunday dinner. We shared memories of two different lives, connected by one complicated man. When the sun finally rose, painting the sky pink and gold, we were sitting by the windows again, exhausted but somehow lighter. Carter's phone buzzed. Building security, letting him know the lockdown had lifted. We were free to leave. But neither of us moved. I don't want this to end, I admitted. It doesn't have to. This is just the beginning. He stood and offered his hand again. This time, when I took it, it felt like a promise. We walked out of that office together, into the sunrise, into whatever came next. 2 weeks later, I met Carter for lunch at a cafe near my office. It had become our thing. Twice a week, we'd meet, talk, build the relationship our father had wanted for us. "How's your mom?" I asked carefully. It was always a sensitive topic. "Still not great, but she's talking to her therapist. She asked about you yesterday." My heart jumped. "She did?" "Just your name, what you do for work, small steps. That's something." "It is." Carter smiled. "She'll come around, eventually. And if she doesn't, then she doesn't. But you and me, we're solid. That's not changing." I smiled back. "No, it's not." My phone buzzed. A message from Jessica. "Dinner tonight? Want to hear more about your billionaire brother situation." I laughed and showed Carter the text. "Your friends still think this whole thing is wild, don't they?" "Completely. But they're happy for me. They see how much it means to have family again." Carter reached across the table and squeezed my hand. "You always had family, Maya. You just didn't know it yet." We finished lunch and walked out into the afternoon sun. Carter had a meeting. I had a case to prep. Normal life, continuing on, but different now, better, because I wasn't alone anymore. And neither was he. What would you rate this story? Drop 0 to 10 in the comments right now. If this story moved you, hit subscribe for more emotional journeys every day. And if it truly touched your heart, consider leaving a super thanks. Your support helps us create more stories like this. Every contribution, big or small, means a world. Ready for the next story? It's even more dramatic than this one. Click now. Thank you for being part of this journey.